Hi, I'm Ira Kalish, Chief Economist of Deloitte, and this is your weekly economic update coming to you from Singapore. Global equity markets have been behaving in a very interesting manner lately. Now, you'll recall that when the conflict in the Middle East began, equity prices dropped sharply. Investors became concerned about the potential for much higher inflation and therefore tighter monetary policy and higher borrowing costs, as well as slower economic growth or no economic growth, the so-called stagflation scenario. So it made sense that equity prices fell pretty sharply. But then, about 2 weeks ago, it was announced that there was going to be a ceasefire in the Middle East, and equity prices rebounded sharply. But since then, although there has been a ceasefire, the Strait of Hormuz has remained closed. There has been no agreement between the U.S. and Iran, although negotiations did take place, and there are still substantial issues remaining that suggest the possibility, at least, of a prolonged conflict. But despite all that, equity prices continued to increase over the past 2 weeks. And we saw equity prices return almost to their pre-conflict level in Western Europe. They did return to their pre-conflict level in Japan and Canada, and they have significantly exceeded their pre-conflict level in the United States. So what's going on? Well, one explanation is that investors believe that the conflict will indeed end soon, with the U.S. blockading Iranian ports, making it almost impossible for Iran to sell oil and generate revenue. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is that investors believe that there are other factors that are likely to affect equity prices, especially in the United States, where equities have risen so sharply. In the U.S., over the past 2 years, equity prices were largely fueled by euphoria over investment in AI. Investors were evidently confident that all the investment taking place in AI would ultimately lead to significant profits. And perhaps they still believe that, and that investment continues apace. Only time will tell. That's your update for this week, and I hope you have a good week.